you don't have the common knowledge how to protect a child, you don't deserve to have children.
No.
And that is a fact. And another thing, what I will state is, and when you're talking about educating parents, unfortunately, there's a lot of parents out there that just don't care.
Okay, so I'm just going to break the bucket again, talking about hunting because I feel comfortable to do so because I've got Luke in here, yeah? Everyone knows that I hate talking about it because of what he's done. But at one point, we were looking to go into schools. And again, trolls fucked that up. Because actually, a lot of us at the time had good reputations to be able to go into schools and do that and educate parents on grooming and how it starts and whatever. But unfortunately, again, because of social media and because of trolling and because of the media, the actual media, press and that, we never got round to do that. But you can absolutely, as a parent, encourage your school, your child's school, to hold these sort of meetings. And if they're not willing to do that, then you offer to do it. And absolutely, when my niece's school opens again, because bearing in mind, as much as this happened a week ago, we only found out this week. Yeah. So when that school is open, it's literally I can see her school from my window here. Yeah. I'm absolutely going to charge over there. You're 100% in thinking that I'm going to do that, because I am. If you cannot get your school to agree to do all this education, then you go and do it. It's not that hard to learn. Like, all of us hunting teams literally started by watching previous hunting teams and educating ourselves. Like, there's even a free courses. Oh, look, have you got the link to the free courses? I'll just give it to you straight now. It's literally, you can take yourself onto this internet and get your free courses on safeguarding children, online safety, parents online safety, and it's free. All of our team members, every last one of my team members had to do this course before they were even allowed to hunt or decoy. So
the thing is, Tam, right? The thing is with this app and that, I find a lot of people come at parents that are non-parents, and you don't have to be a parent to know a danger. I understand that, but why are you criticising parents all the time on this app, knocking people, thinking the parents are in the wrong? Unfortunately, you can't monitor children 24/7, and that's a fact. I'm not going to say Stonewall fact, but that's pissing everyone off, that comment. But that's the truth. You can't monitor children 24/7.
I was a 14-year-old girl and he was a 22-year-old man. I went to a friend's party where there were other adults present. That's literally all it takes, okay? And that's as far as there's too many people in here for me to go into my story, and it's been used as a weapon against me for so long. I can't bother to go through it all now. But like I said, I was 14, he was 22, and I was at a friend's party. Okay, and I then ended up leaving my home at 14. I wasn't in a good situation anyway at home, so I left, and I've never been home since. So literally, that's all it takes.
Yeah, I was watching a show the other day on was it on YouTube? It might have been on YouTube. I think it was on YouTube, and there was a show on there. Well, not a show on there. It must have been a TV show somewhere, and they were saying that there was peddlers on there, yeah, and they was trying to say that once a peddler, not always a peddler, and I was saying that is the most biggest load of bullshit. So you're just basically, then the trauma that child's gone through, you're just fucking just pushing it away.
Well, the thing, again, one of the biggest questions I had when stepping foot into it was, is it a mental health condition? Because I believed it was at first, or is it something you're born with? I am categorically telling you, from all the people that I have stood in front of, this is where I base my analysis on, I am telling you, you're born like it. There isn't one predator that I've spoken to that spoke to me on a level that hasn't admitted that. They are born with it, as you are straight, as you are gay, as you are trans, okay?
I need to jump on something quickly, Tom. You know, when people say about that, I think that was drummed. I think that was drummed in. I don't think, because obviously no one can prove someone's got mental health or not, believe it or not. It's one of them things, like you can go to a doctor and say, oh, I feel down. They'll give you tablets of depression. You know what I mean? You can never actually tell if you are suffering mental health, unfortunately. So I think when they drum that into fucking peddlers' heads and stuff, that they could say that as a getaway, as a get out free, a jail free card. You know what I mean? Saying that, oh, I'm suffering mental health and all this bollocks. I believe it was drummed in there for the elites. I do. I genuinely do. I think it was drummed in for all these big fucking nonsense so they can get away with it.
abusers have been abused. It's people like you that don't even get me started on that. How can... No, it is not. It is not ingrained into you by being abused, okay? In fact, the statistics in the UK show that actually the abused don't turn into abusers unless it's family, of course. If
that really angers me, Tam, when people say that.
It rolls me right up.
Are you fucking kidding me? I was horrifically abused and I would never, ever put anyone through what I went through.
There's no nice way to put it either. Just go and do your government statistics. Your government writes these statistics, yeah? It's readily available on the internet for everyone to see. I'm telling you now that the majority of abusers are not sexually abused themselves, okay?
That's one thing.
Can I also just make something? Sorry, I keep droning on. I do apologise. But I just want to make it clear for everyone as well, like, because I know there's a lot of people that teach their kids, like, you know, stay away from that big scary man. Predators aren't just men. Women are predators too. And not only that, but it doesn't need to be an old, greasy, ugly looking man. No, or women. There can be predators out there that are 17 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old. Very many ages, and that's very important, because I've seen a lot of parents say to their kids, you need to stay away from grown man, like old men, when actually not old. No, it's not just old men. There is no look. Predators and pedolos don't look like anything, okay? It can be anyone you walk by, anyone you know, anyone you speak to, and anyone you surround yourself with. There is no look.
Yeah, that could be
the most
friends.
prolific offenders are always people that are outgoing as well, outgoing and lovable. Believe it or not.
And please, if anyone's watching and you're listening, and you're like, but it's not a stranger that's done it to me. It's family members. Please know that if they're not respecting your boundaries, if they're crossing your boundaries, or if they're doing anything that's making you feel uncomfortable, if they're not taking no as an answer, or they're doing anything to you, please go and speak to the right people, whether it be a teacher, whether it be a trusted family member, whether it be the police, anyone that you're comfortable enough to speak to, please speak out. You're not alone. And a predator doesn't need to be a stranger. It can be someone you know. It can be your mum. It can be your dad. It can be your brother. It can be your sister. It can be your uncle. It can be anyone. So please speak out.
Yeah, I think that's because of the subject. People need to realise you need to speak out and drum that into a child at such a young age. If you feel that it's something's not right, then genuinely it is not right. You know what I mean?
Can I just ask you a favour while there's 600 people, Alex?
Yeah, of course.
If you suspect something's going on your child's phone, do yourself a favour, and this is another pet peeve of mine. I used to go nuts when this used to happen to me when I was running a team. Do not message paedophile hunters first. Like, we are not police officers, and that's primarily where you should be taking your child's phones or devices. Please stop contacting predator hunters before you contact the police. That is not safeguarding, okay? I'm not saying that we aren't good at what we do. We are, but I absolutely do not want anyone to be messaging ghosts today going, oh, I think such and such down the road is a predator, or my child's been talking to this person and I think they're being groomed. Fucking go to the police first. Use your common sense. And if you haven't got common sense, please give up your children, because you're not keeping your children safe.
It's like that saying that always goes around. If you see something suspicious, report it. Report it, report it, report it. Don't stay silent. Just blocking someone, you might be helping yourself, or you might be helping your child, but you're not helping the next person. So please, if someone... It's not going to cost you anything, and the police aren't going to tell you you're wasting the time if you take your child's device and give the police your child's device and tell them, I'm really concerned, I feel like my child's in danger here. The police can run a check on the phone. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, just speak out, please, because blocking these people aren't going to stop these people from going on to other people.
Also, sorry, Kel, I've got to get this out there because Hayley's made a good point. And again, Hayley was working with us in hunting teams. Do not pretend to be your child and message them back. And then go to a predator hunting team and say, oh, look, I don't know what to do. I've messaged this groomer back. No, no, fucking no. You go straight to the police because you've got no fucking idea how many other people this cunt is talking to. And you're the person that's now kept it going. So you need to take your phone down to the police officers and let the police do their job.
Yeah, I need to state this as well, because I had this conversation and there's discussion in the box before, and a few parents were saying, yeah, I don't want to search my child's device because I don't want to break the trust.
Neither do I.
Yeah, but unfortunately there though, how would you feel if you could have prevented something as a parent? I think that's going to hurt more than breaking the trust of a child.
Your child will get over that though. That's the thing. Like, listen, if someone took my phone when I was younger and went through it, I would be annoyed. Why are you invading my privacy? But your child will get over that. Your child will not hold on to that, because when your child gets to a certain age, they will actually appreciate the fact that you were actually safeguarding them. Would you not rather your child be annoyed at you and be safe than your child not being annoyed at you and your child in danger?
Exactly.
And do you know what really makes me die? And it does. These are the same parents that would end up messaging paedophile hunting teams crying because their child's been whatevered because they couldn't break their child's trust. And I actually had this fucking argument with my kid literally a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I asked her 3 times, get your bed out, let's get ready for bed. And 3 times I was ignored while she carried on texting. So I took the fucking phone. And again, I don't know if it's a generation or if it's just me, so please help me, because sometimes I feel like I'm being a bad mum. Yeah. But I fucking had to wrestle her for that phone. I would never have dared wrestle my mum for a phone. Like, I would have been beat the shit out of. But
Can I also...
I don't give a shit. I'm taking your fucking phone. I've told you to get off and you're texting someone.
Can I also make a good point as well? Sorry. Predators, when I'm saying predators, I don't just mean pedolos, okay? Because, listen, I watch a lot of true crime and a lot of documentaries and things, right? And educate myself in a lot. You know, there is people out there that they don't necessarily need to speak to you in a actual kind of way. They could pretend to be your friend and they could hurt you. Like, I seen a documentary about a young boy, can't remember his name, but it was a young boy who was gaming online, and he met this boy who was gaming online with him that he thought was his friend. And
yes,
he worshipped the ground this boy walked on, okay? It was his best friend, and the mum knew something wasn't right, but the son kept going against her because she was getting more and more like annoyed and more like putting rules in place. So the son ended up going behind her back. A son that used to tell her everything ended up being like, do you know what? I'm just going to do what I want. I'm not going to tell you. And he went, Breck, that's it. Yes, Leila. Breck ended up leaving the house, lied to his parent where he was, met up with this boy, and that boy unalived him. Not for an actual manner, nothing like that, but because he wanted to unalive someone. So it's not just an actual manner that your kids could be in danger for. And when I say kids, I don't mean just underage kids. You can have kids that are 16, 17 that can be put in danger too. Protect your kids, protect your loved ones, and protect yourselves. Definitely. Not all predators are actual predators. There can be predators that are pretending to just be friends.
Just a quick one, back to what Tam was on about. I want to just try and get it out there. If you've not ever been trained how a decoy works, don't ever try and take it into your own hands.
No.
You can potentially end up criminalising yourself.
And fucking it right up.
100%. So, and I don't get... How many times have you had inboxes, Tam? Oh, the police ain't going to do anything. Can you help?
Luke, I still get it. My page is still getting messages to this day where I've got parents saying, can you take over this chat log? And I'm like, do you know what? No, I can't, because you're a dickhead. You're a dickhead. Take it to the police.
What parents in this chat would come to a hunting team before the police if it was their own child?
I mean, we're trying to teach people not to talk to strangers, and the parents are talking to fucking strangers. That make sense, please, because I can't make sense of it.
Tam, do you know about Woody Allen, the filmmaker?
I've heard bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, Woody Allen, right? He was a big time filmmaker and stuff, right? He adopted a young girl
Yeah.
from Korea. That young girl is now his wife that he has 2 children with.
She groomed her.
So he adopted her as a young child. Obviously went through all that stuff nearly. Talking about the periods. You know what I'm on about. Going through all that with her, and then literally married her.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anyone says. I agree with what Alex said yesterday about it. He groomed her.
Yeah, and the sad thing is there's probably a trauma bond then now, and it's all she knows, isn't it? So, and again, we're going back to all types of abuse here. When you're actively in an abusive situation, it takes they reckon, according to the statistics, it takes at least 7 attempts before you leave. Like that in itself is grooming, gaslighting, manipulation. It's so hard because we all do it. I even to this day, I very easily get sucked into friendships, as people have seen. And the only thing you can do is just keep educating yourself and keep telling yourself that you're going to look harder next time. But we're all guilty of falling for a sob story. Now try and put that towards a child. My main focus is about children. Yes, there's all types of abuse and manipulation and whatever, but your child is less susceptible to knowing those red flags than what we are. So if we can't do it, how can you expect a child to?
Exactly, and that's the problem.
I feel really passionate about this subject because of obviously
You would have made a
experiences.
wicked hunter, Mabel. In all fairness, I would have liked to have seen someone like you. Other
I'm
women.
gonna be honest, Tam. I don't
Okay.
think I would be able to do it because I wouldn't be able to keep the calm. I wouldn't be able. Because I know obviously the biggest rule in hunting is you have to be calm. You can't take the law on your own hands,
that's
and I would not be
bollocks.
able to do that, Tam.
That's bollocks. That's bollocks. Listen, that's not how I ever hunted. Can you imagine me standing in front of a predator and being nice?
That's
You're joking.
that's the one thing I
was
couldn't
well
have done.
famous for that.
I've got a lot of respect from Tam, but you know what? I think keeping my cool is something I could never be able
Yeah,
to.
I couldn't.
This is
Do
why
you know
I
when they're
always-
condoning their behaviour? That's the issue that I have when they're trying
Yeah.
to convince you that what they're doing and the
It's
reasons
right,
why
yeah.
they've done it. That's what makes me angry.
Oh, I
Tam,
didn't know.
I would do more damage as a hunter than good because I would end up making the person that you've hunted the victim because I would beat them up. I'm gonna be real.
I think you'd surprise yourself because this was my biggest thing, when I first started. And I wasn't lead at first, I was just security at first and all other hunter, whatever you wanted to call me back then. But, on the stings that I used to go on, I got more satisfaction out of making them feel about 2 inches tall. And yeah, there were stings that I screamed and shouted, and there were stings that I was actually a complete professional on. It really depended on their attitude, really. Because if they were going to talk down to me like they would a child, then they were going to get the tantrum in me. Do you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be real, Tam. I know you hate this, okay? Because you don't like it when people big you up, but I'm about to fucking do it, okay? If I get the statistics wrong, do correct me. But this is why I get so angry with people coming at Tam. That woman, as a hunter, as her team, not just Tam, shout out to the whole team to do with Tam. They have 158 convictions, a 98% conviction rate.
Yeah.
158.
I've had 2 walk free. That's it. And that's only... And those
98%.
2
Come
were not-
on. Come
not
on, man.
fucking fault.
The amount of fucking kids. I'm not just talking about the kids that are the decoys. She
the
has
real
saved
kids.
so many potential kids from these predators that she's managed to get convicted. Her team have done
I've
that.
got
Tam
the
and her team
idea.
have done that.
I can't remember a lot of the real children's faces. There's only a few that really stand out to me. But there's one particular case where I had 7 children safeguarded, and that person, the children's auntie was a paedophile hunter, and all of her nieces and nephews were removed the minute I put the safeguarding in. So
Oh, Tam, Laura just asked the question.
the other one, this one really freaked me out, actually, to be fair. I won't go into the baby because it's not so much the baby's face that I remember, but it was literally 2 doors away from Sarah Payne's auntie and uncle. We turned up at the doorstep of a real life child, and 2 doors away was Sarah Payne, who was murdered and raped by a man, horrible man. They lived 2 doors down, so you can imagine how traumatic that was. as well for them to know that this poor baby was being internet streamed as well. It was internet streamed, and there were card details, put it that way, on the live stream. If you pay, we'll do this, that and the other, basically. One of them ones.
Tam, Laura asked, Tam, question, how could I teach my disabled son about his private areas? He's 5.
The no pants rule, but there are different stages to the no pants rule. I would say, to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of Sen experience. If Loza is in here, she would be able to tell you more about doing it for the Sen parents. I would say speak to your school's Sen worker, or speak to the safeguarding officer. But the no pants rule, you can't really go wrong with, because what that teaches any child, doesn't matter what capacity they're on, is that nobody, not even mummy and daddy, are allowed to touch you anywhere physically unless there is a medical problem, but it's age appropriate. So
I forgot about that.
It's just figuring out really what age appropriate is right for your child, and then doing it from there. There's loads of information on your local council's websites now, though. And if you give me your rough area, I can probably give you someone to speak to about it.
Alex, can I play a 2-minute video, please?
No, you can't.
Is it going to get me off on bail?
No, it's. I forgot about that until someone put it on. The NSPCC put a Pantosaurus song. So just want to play for people.
Yes, play that. Maybe this will work for whoever that was. Laura, was it Laura?
Right. So I'm going to play it. Right.
This will probably work. This song.
He's going to help us with our song about pants. What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts. Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see, just tell them no. Pantosaurus likes to wear his pants. He wears them all day long. They cover up his private parts, and that's what makes him strong. If someone asks to see or tries to touch him underneath them, he tells them no, then tells someone he trusts and likes to speak to. What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts.
So, like, you get the gist, Laura. I know with a lot of kids with many disabilities, including learning disabilities, and kids that might not be are non-verbal, because of the song, because of the tune, they're going to learn a lot from that than just sitting them down and speaking to them, you know?
Jessica, in answer to your question about social services not taking reports into consideration now, there's one simple answer for that. If you're going to report somebody in a fake name or anonymously, social services are 9 times out of 10 not going to take you seriously. If you can find someone to a professional, we do now, because I've not worked in healthcare for years now, so I can't do that anymore. But you're better off finding someone that can do it as a professional capacity and not do it anonymously. If you've got something to report it in your own goddamn name, and then social services aren't going to think you're being malicious.
Oh, Uplonker also said, Laura, Uplonker, if you see Uplonker's comment, sign with Tash, done a good one. So that's obviously someone that does sign language for kids that are non-verbal also. Right, I'm going to dip out because I don't want to take over the live, but I just wanted to jump in and say what
Jessica,
I had to say.
I'll send you my number. No,
Thanks for having me, Alex.
I think my signal's gone. I think Alex has wandered off somewhere now, left us to it.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
Is my Wi-Fi all right, Alex? It's saying I've got low signal.
You did have the black. You did have the old black and red bars then. So yeah, you must have had a bit of slow signal.
Yeah, Jessica, I'll send you my number. It's a bit concerning that you're a family member that's reporting and it's not being taken seriously. I would strongly suggest if you can't get if it's worrying you that much, it's just slowed it down. Oh, has it? Sorry. If it's worrying you that much, I would go and speak to your professionals, i.e. go to your doctors and say it's depressing me. I know that the abuse is going on or the neglect is going on or whatever it is. The only other thing I can think of is it a two-parent household? Is speak to the other parent if it's not a two-parent household.
No doubt.
Unfortunately, when it comes to social services, everyone knows what I think about social services. I hate them. I hate them with a passion. I think they're corrupt as fuck. I think that 90% of the children that are in their care get abused, and it's because of them and the way that they perceive themselves. I don't really have an answer, but I will say that neglect of a child is a criminal offence, and if you're not getting a response out of social services, then I would absolutely report it to the police. You have to understand that the majority of calls that they get are malicious, and now unfortunately those that are genuine that are coming through, people don't take seriously. And even if they did take it seriously, they're so fucking corrupt that they don't give a shit. You can ask it to be escalated. You can make a formal complaint, a stage 1 complaint, stage 2 complaint, and a stage 3 complaint. I would seriously consider, though, Jessica, just, I don't know what your situation is with your sister, but I'm just thinking out loud here that you consider seriously what it is that you're concerned about, and whether it's because of your own beliefs that you think that she's being so bad, or whether it is actually physical neglect or whatever, abuse going on or whatever. I mean, you can go straight to court, of course. Like Sam's just said, you can go to court, get mum to do a C100. Your mum. I think we need to be careful demonising social services. People are trying to help, and the services are so under pressure, and you defend and underfunded. No, I understand that, Dino Dust, but unfortunately, the majority of people that I work with voluntarily now have had social services involvement and have all been corrupt as fuck. And the level of work that they give the social workers is a massive part of the problem of that, by the way, which is why so little is done. I'm not saying that every social worker is corrupt or every social worker is bad, but the majority aren't good. Especially if you live in the Kent area.
Jessica thinks you're an angel, Tam.
Oh God, I wish. Can you find me my wings so I can fly the fuck away?
Jessica, you take a WhatsApp number then.
I think both, Dino Dust. I think they're corrupt and insufficient, and I think the insufficiency causes the corruption. How about that for an answer? I think it's both. I really do.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that. Jill, can you be mindful stuff that you put in the comments, please? It's very, very triggering to a lot of people.
What does she put?
Think about she was looking after someone with, I think, special, and they got gang banged by.
Oh Jesus!
You need to be more mindful of people in the comments. It could be a sore subject, unfortunately. I mean, big respect for you for looking after that person, but
thank you, Pam.
Is that proven or a personal opinion? Michelle said.
Is that proven or a personal opinion? You're quite diggy today, Michelle, aren't you? It's both. Like I said, I've experienced a lot of families that have had a lot of problems with social services looking in the wrong places, and there was a massive exposure done by the BBC. So it's both is the answer. I mean, I'm assuming that you didn't see that whistleblower social worker, no?
No, it's fine. It's fine, Summer.
It was an action documentary where they exposed a social services area, and I'd like to inform you right now that my social services in Kent are actually in administration. So, like I said, it's corrupt and it's insufficient. And that's not including adult social services, who, by the way, are very, very well maintained. I've never had problems with adult social services whatsoever.
Yes, Irish dancer.
I would like to think they are trying but failing rather than propose. I think the children's side of social services really needs looking into, Dino Dust. It really does. I've just noticed a couple of comments that you've made. That's all, Michelle. That's all I'm saying. It just feels very diggy.
We got a GoFundMe going on to get Michelle to a level 47 badge. She's been on that 46 for a while, ain't you, Michelle? So GoFundMe in the bio. I'll have a look. You plunker, and I'll
they're in administration, not special measures. They're literally going bankrupt for whatever reason. Dino Dust, and obviously, if something's underfunded or something's going bankrupt, that's when the slack starts to come in, doesn't it?
What's up, Jojo? Would you like to enter the box?
I was in social care for 12 years. The male workers groom young girls. It's horrible. Thank you. Like I said, it's not the adult services. I don't know how that... I literally don't know. I asked myself the same question. You can literally look it up for yourself at Kent County Council website. But, yeah, they're in administration, social services, for some reason. Adult services are absolutely amazing. And, again, they don't have enough money to do whatever, but they're not abusive. In most cases, but it's the children's services, and the more people I speak to, the more mums. Do you know? Let me give you an example. So there was a teacher, an active teacher at a school, and her husband split up. Now I know this woman's friend, yeah. So, like I said, she was a well-to-do person, well looked after kids, really good marriage, really good careers on both sides, and her marriage broke down and she had a mental breakdown. And social services waded in, yeah, for whatever reason. Totally understandable as well. Like, she was having a mental breakdown, social services needed to do checks, whatever. Now, rather than assisting her through the mental breakdown and getting her the mental health help and asking what it is that she needed for her to be able to mentally cope, they immediately started child protection process, which doesn't the whole thing and the way that it is dealt with a victim, especially in the abuse where people have walked away from abusive relationships. A lot of the women that I work with have come from abusive relationships and walked away from those relationships, and then social services have kicked them while they're down, rather than supporting them, getting them the mental health help. You know, I did the Freedom Programme 3 times to jump through these bloody hoops that they wanted me to jump through, which I then was signed off for in 2020. So the way that they deal with those types of I'm not saying that everything is bad with social services, but the way that they deal with domestic survivors, domestic abuse survivors, the way that they deal with people that have had absolutely, in brackets, normal day-to-day lives and have just gone through a bad fling, and rather than social services supporting the family to stay together, they've instantly gone in, court case, you know, judging about their parenting, making comments, you know, the things that they write down always sound worse than what they are. It's these sorts of things that need sorting in children's social services, and the way that they deal with victims or survivors, or even worse, when you tell social services, I've had a bad history with my mum and dad, I've been abused, I've been groomed, whatever, those immediately go on your files as a reason that you can't look after those children. And that's why I say social services are not just insufficient, they are corrupt. Okay, some of these parents that I have met have absolutely no reason to have children removed, but have had them removed because social services don't want to deal with the actual problem, which is mum or dad needed some sort of support mentally, physically, alcohol, drugs, whatever. I'm not saying that you should leave your kids with smackheads, but there are absolutely exceptional circumstances, and social services, rather than waste their money and whatever on getting you help, they'll remove your children.
Not only that though, but they involve themselves in people who don't actually need to be involved in. So I'll come up and give a
Exactly.
brief in that one.
Jojo, I'm so glad that you came up because I know exactly what story you're going to tell, so take it away.
So I am a child of care. I was taken into the service system at 5 years old. I was in 13 different care homes. I finally found my adoptive family and I got adopted at the age of 14. However, when it came to time for me having my daughter, I had her at 29 years old. Obviously, I've lost babies along the way. I went to my midwife appointment and I sat down and spoke about my history. I was not even 8 weeks pregnant. The midwife sat there and informed me and said, I'm going to have to hand you over to the social services. I said, could you please explain to me why? She said, because you're a child of care. I said, excuse me, I've never done anything. I've not got sat there and given you any rhyme or reason as to why you need to refer me to this service. Bearing in mind, I have a history of extreme pregnancy loss. Bearing in mind, I have a history of 2 stillborn children. I was on holiday, just gone 8 weeks pregnant, and they started to hound me. They hounded me the whole way through until my daughter was 2 weeks of age after she was born, for no reason other than I was a child of fucking care. And I have no faith in the social services system because they let my own father down, who could have taken care of me. If it wasn't for the fact of his own mental health issues, I wouldn't gone through half the shit I went through in my life if he had. But they hounded me all the way through my pregnancy, knowing I was extremely high risk, and they had no rhyme or reason other than I was a child of care.
Thank you. And this is what I'm saying. There are so many people out there like Jojo and myself, and they automatically tarnish you. When social services came across my family, my husband. I'm not going to go into my husband, actually. I'm just not doing it. But anyway, I made a decision, and my decision was that my marriage was going to end and I was going to put my children first. I was working as a senior healthcare assistant at the time. My family was a normal working family. Yes, I've had history of bad stuff, which I've already talked about. But at this point in my life, I'd been 10 years straight, 10 years clean, 10 years everything, had children, everything was fine. I was working as a senior healthcare assistant. I was excelling in that as well, going into NVQ3. Social services, literally, they kick you. They kick you when you've already got problems and mental health problems and confidence problems. And actually, what they should be doing is promoting a healthy family unit. That's what social services are meant to do. They're meant to promote healthy and safe families. They're not supposed to come in, wade in, drag you down, point out all your faults, i.e., this thing with the no pants rule. I've always taught my daughter it. Do you know what social services said? That I gave my daughter a complex about her body because I taught her not to let anyone near her. So when the police wanted to strip my child at school because trolls on the internet told them that there was signs of abuse on her body and they wanted to strip my kid at school, my daughter absolutely told them no fucking way. And she was only 7. But they put that down in my paperwork as me being the problem. Do you remember that, Doug?
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I'm not saying that all social workers are bad, but the way that the managers are telling these people to work is not fair, and it is corrupt, and it's also very insufficient. Children should absolutely be kept at home until the very last instance, until you can't do no fucking more.
Yep. Most definitely. And they should help support the mums and dads to be in a place so they can support their children. Because my story, and I'm a firm believer of this, and this is why I advocate for men's mental health the way I do, because if my dad had received the mental health and the help back then, he would have been able to look after me, and I would have been able to stay with at least one of my biological parents, and I wouldn't have gone through half the shit I went through in those care homes. Because when I was taken from my parents, although, yes, I say my parents, it was mainly my birth mother. However, the homes that they continued to place me in, I still suffered abuse from. Be it from SA abuse, neglect, the lot. When I find
Thanks, Shazza.
my adoptive parents, Tam, the home that the social services placed me into, I was in shoes that were 3 sizes too small for me, and all I had was the clothes on my back was a t-shirt and a pair of shorts.
Jojo, now ask me how much it costs to keep, or how much it would have cost to have kept you in care for 1 week.
I do know, but we'll ask. How much would it have cost to keep me in care, Tam?
It's about 1,100 now, but I would say about 800 when you were younger. Now, social services get paid 800 to 1,100 pound a week to keep children in care. And you're telling me it's not a financially run organisation? I'm sorry, but it is. Now, you just heard she had shoes on that were 3 sizes too small. Well, how come out of the 800 and something pound that they would have received to keep her in care, why did she not get a percentage of that like she's supposed to?
Nope.
Why
I had
did her-
clothes when I was with them. I had clothes when I was with this last family. And literally they refused to send me the clothes that they had purchased because it was their money, they said. And I got sent to my final family, which became my adoptive family, with just a t-shirt, a shorts and shoes that were 3 sizes too small for me.
My children's godparents turned into foster carers, and they fostered a 14-year-old at the time, and they were being paid at least £500 a week to keep this child. So that £500, it's no different to the child tax credits when you work or working tax credits. You get paid to have these children and an extra bonus for having a child that's in care, right? So that money is not your money. That money is not meant for foster carers. That's money that's meant to look after the child. But people that do foster caring these days don't do it for that. They do it for the money, which is why people like Jojo end up in situations where they've come from abuse to go further into abuse. Mm-hmm. Yes, Sammy, absolutely. You can message me. So, again, these are all stats that have been built up over years of paedophile hunting and people that I've met and clients that I've had that I've helped through family court, and Jojo has had personal experience. So I'm not just talking out of my arse. It's stuff that I've actually been witness to.
No, you are most certainly not talking out of your ass. I had to go through years of therapies as to wonder why that the people and the authorities who are meant to be sitting there and placing me in areas to protect me actually placed me into situations that further then abused me.
And Jojo, did they again, I know what the answer is to this question, but I'm going to ask it. Did they try at any time to place you with a family member?
They only once tried to place me with a family member, and then that factor got taken away from me because of their age. And they deemed that they were too old to look after me, and then I got placed into another circumstance.
And this is the other thing that angers me. Not every bad person or every bad parent has bad family members. And 9 times out of 10, the people that I've met could have gone to family members that were willing to take them, but for whatever reason, that was stopped at the last minute. I know this all sounds like conspiracy theories, and again, I'm not saying it's every service in the UK, but it's a fucking lot. It's a fucking lot of services up and down the UK where children go missing from service every day. And that is another fact.
That is facts, Tam. That is absolute facts, because I got all my records when I was 18. I got all my records from Hammersmith and Fulham social care. Social services, and when I looked into details, I mean, half the shit I didn't actually remember that had happened to me. It was quite shocking. But in terms of who they actually looked to place me with regarding my family, for years I thought I wasn't loved by my biological family. People didn't give a shit what was happening to me, and eventually when I spoke to them all again, the amount of my own cousins who were old enough to have me at the time, aunts that would have had me at the time, said, we sat there and said we would have you, but they told us we weren't acceptable. And I said, under what grounds? These people have always been law-abiding citizens, the ones that wanted me, but none of them were ever offered or given a chance to even prove themselves.
It's crazy, and do you know what, again, there were so many factors as to why I left hunting, but again, this is another factor. The things that we set out to do as hunters and raising awareness and all that, once you come up to this sort of stuff, the social services stuff and parliament stuff and government stuff, you get blocked and you get harassed by police and social services. So ultimately, we've got a service that isn't fit for purpose. We've got hundreds of children in the UK that are going missing every year. And then what's happening is they're completely disappearing off the face of the planet and nobody has a clue what's going on. And then you've got hundreds of, if not thousands of there with missing children that never get an answer because it's all covered up. So it isn't just conspiracy theories. These are actual facts.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find either.
I think everyone can see that it's a fact because everyone sees it for themselves, like what's been going on, all the fucking cover-ups that have been happening, all these people being outed as well through the fucking system as well. The whole thing's a fucking.
It's common knowledge, mate. It needs radical reform from top to bottom.
But again, do you know what it is, Jeffrey? It's power by numbers. One of the things that we could never seem to do as hunting teams, all right, we do have loads of followers, thousands of followers, yeah, but trying to get everybody to stand together is a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare, and you're just never going to win, because when it comes to it, the powers that be will always win, and they do. They always fucking win.
I know there's a big case in the moment, isn't there, in the news about a baby and the way the social services failed.
Handled it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at Baby P as well, and then you've got that. Who was the young black girl? Oh, I can't think of her name, but she was abused as well. And they always go for the wrong people. This is what I don't understand. They're all over the wrong people, and then children like that get absolutely Victoria. Thank you. That children like that get absolutely abused to bits, and no one does anything. It's so bad out there, and it does literally all this stuff really fucked with my head. It did, because I couldn't save everyone, and I wanted to badly.
But the point I was going to make is, if you look at the story about the kid in the media at the moment, that poor baby at the moment, like, they were failed radically because that family was already noticed and known to be an issue.
Yeah, and Baby P was the same as well.
But then you got someone like Jojo on the other hand, like she said, like her story, and yet they want to stick their oar in massively in Jojo's circumstance.
Yeah.
When you've got a family that are actually quite known and need to be looked at, they're not willing to get involved and step in.
Well, again, personal circumstances. I'm just going to say it this way, but imagine social services getting involved in a domestic abuse relationship. The one parent leaves the other parent, the abusive parent, and then that abusive parent 2 years later kidnaps those children, and social services do nothing. Imagine.
Yeah, well,
imagine that.
Disgrace, isn't it? And this is what I mean. It needs reform. It needs to be reformed from top to bottom.
And guys in the chat, I can see, like, I'm not going to sit here and tar every social worker with the same brush. They're not.
No, of course not.
I get that. You know, there's good and bad in every sort of community, situation, organisation. Of course there is. However, unfortunately for someone like me, I've never had a chance to come up against one of the good ones. And now, unfortunately, the damage is done, the trust is broken, and I won't trust them for as long as I live. I just will not do it.
How much help from social services, other than when they tried to, kidnap your own children? How much help did you have for them once you turned 18 or 21 or whatever it is that you were under?
I'll come up and tell you. Well, I'm not bothered. I know most people don't tell your story on here, but fuck it, come troll me all you want. Couldn't give a shit. So actually, Tam, my family unit within my adoptive family broke down from the age of 14. I then left my adoptive family at the age of 16. I then went back to my biological family, okay? I had nowhere to fucking go. They took me back to Hammersmith and Fulham Social Services.
That is crazy.
Yep, they took me back to Hammersmith and Fulham Social Services to see where they could get me help, whether it be put me in a hostel, put me up with the family, whatever it was. My family still weren't deemed worthy enough to have me. They tried to put me back into the placement of my adoptive family, but the relationship had completely broken down. To a point then, I was basically left, I was near enough left on the streets. If I hadn't moved in with my boyfriend and his family at that time, but even then, that turned out to be in an abusive situation. So one of my family members recognised that, tried to get me help again, and they were like, oh, they pretty much waited until I was 18 and then went, you're an adult, there's nothing we can do now.
And that was the point to my question. Also, if you're bloody lucky enough to make it through the end of being in social care, under social care, when you reach 18, they literally get rid of you, or 21. It depends on the circumstances of each child, because it's either 18 or 21. But once you reach 18 or 21, they literally drop you like a scabby old dog. Like you never existed.
Adding to what Jojo just said as well, look, it's not that I'm taking aim at social workers specifically. I'm saying the whole system, and it's usually at the top where the real problems start, and the people below have just got to do. Like they're the like the foot soldiers, aren't they?
Yeah.
You get given a task,
and again, Jeffrey, there's loads of good social workers out there. Like, big up Michael, my first ever social worker. He was the bollocks of a social worker. But unfortunately, if you've got 10 social workers and only one of them's good, that one person leaves, and Michael did leave. The pressure that the good ones are under is phenomenal because they're not given the tools to actually do their job. They're not. So you've either got really bad ones that are not doing fuck all and being really abusive of power, and then you've got the good ones who can't do their fucking job because they haven't got the tools to do it.
And I think for me, sorry, Jeffrey, I don't mean to jump in. For someone like me, where I think the system is really fucked up, I'm going to sit there and say this. So obviously, when you get adopted and you've come from the social services system, obviously I understand that in their eyes they're now legally your parents. However, where's the contingency plans for someone like me if that relationship does break down? Because I was now no longer, I mean, my birth father wasn't around, my birth mother died when I was 9. So technically, I had no parents around, I had no authority figure, I had no one to turn to. So when I went back to the social service system and they went, well, what more can we do? She's adopted. She's not under our care anymore.
Well, I hate to upset you, Jojo, but there is actually a protocol for placement breakdowns. Did you know that?
Oh, I know that now, Tam.
The protocol is meant to be that a suitable family is found straight away, and that's after attempts for mediation, after attempts for, working with the mother, the adoptive parents or foster parents. That's after working with the child and seeing if the child needs any mental health help. Because imagine being a teenager, you've had no real parents all your life, and then you've got a placement breakdown with the parents that you're supposed to have now. And then what does that do to a child? Like that teenager is literally thinking,
I'll tell you what it did to me.
Anywhere.
I'll tell you what it did to me. It royally fucked me up. And I've left with certain mental scars and trauma that I've been struggling to deal with this very day. This is why I have trust issues.
Jojo.
This is why I have problems in relationships, because the whole reason why that situation broke down is they ended up getting divorced. They no longer loved each other and they basically saw me as a spare fucking part.
So again, going back to the grooming, in some forms, some foster placements can feel like grooming because, like she's just said, the minute their marriage broke down, suddenly she wasn't loved anymore. And that's how she feels about it. And that's what I'm saying. If she still feels like that now...
I was physically told by my adoptive father. I was physically told by my adoptive father they only took me on for the money.
Jojo.
Yeah. No doubt that's done wonders for your self-esteem as well, Jojo.
Can I just take this time to tell you, Jojo, that that's nothing to do with you as a person. There was no reason. You weren't a naughty child. There was no reason that you can't be loved. You're not an unlovable person. It just so happens that there are cunts in the world and you happen to find the most cunts in one situation. So I hope you don't feel like that now at your age, because it's not true.
Could I quickly jump in as well? I need a favour off everyone. There's 600 odd people in here now. I need a little favour off someone if you can. I don't ask for much on this app. Can we all follow Jeffrey, please? Oh. He's trying to get so he's eligible to go on the camera, guys, and he wants to obviously speak to people. But he's a close friend of mine. This is a real life friend of mine, and if you can, a follow don't cost anything, does it?
I would like you all to follow him just to troll him like I do. Thank you.
Jojo, also. Yeah, I want to say fair play to you as well for not turning to another statistic, because the statistic of care leavers and keeping their children is very, very little and very low, and that's because they're not given the tools to be parents. So well done to you for managing to get through that as well, because that in itself must have been hard.
I mean, anyone who knows me personally knows that I've spoken to Alex a little bit about things. He knows, that has always been one of my biggest fears. I will never lose my children to the social services system, to the care system. Never in a million life. My kids come before and absolutely everything.
You would think that people would think like that as well, because, I wasn't from a really bad, childhood. It's not like that with me. My mum's got a condition, and I'm not going to go into any more than that. She absolutely took care of my sister, and she was very volatile towards me. Let's just put it that way. And I absolutely have always, even as a teenager, I always remember saying to myself, when I grow up and I have children, I'm never ever going to make my children feel like you make me feel. And that's how it should be. So if there are any care leavers listening to this, don't give up on yourself. Just educate yourself.
My
That's all
kids
you
get
can
annoyed
do.
with me, but I'm also a mum to 3 bonus kids. I've got my 2 own biological children. And the one thing I do, no matter what, even if they've pissed me off, we've had an argument, no matter what, I tell them I love them every day. I tell them exactly that they can accomplish whatever they put their mind to it. You aren't to be afraid of hard work. You go out there and you do what you need to do. Like, my kids come before absolutely everything and anything on this planet.
And also, I don't know about anyone else, but there's a rule in my house that we don't go to bed angry with each other. And there's a reason for, because I'm always paranoid that one day one of us might not wake up if we do. And that's been drummed into me as well. So, like, if you're arguing with your kid, don't let your kid go to bed that night angry with you, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I used to sit there, I'll be honest, I used to sit there and I look at families growing up before I had my own children especially, and I sit there and think, I wonder if I'll ever have that one day. Why wasn't I ever loved like that?
You ain't missing much,
I don't.
Jojo. Trust me, you're not.
No.